Good morning. I'm Steve Thompson, and this is Jeff Markow. Jeff owns Mystic Ice Cream, and I'm president of Emery Thompson Machine, a 111-year-old American family business. My grandfather invented the batch freezer in 1905 and had the world's first patent, and today, through a lot of good luck and a lot of great people, we're the largest manufacturer in the world of batch freezers. So we're going to get started right away. We're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to run the same formula on two different machines. A lot of people call up and ask me, well, which machine should I pick? And it's an interesting discussion. I think oftentimes it comes down to money, because Jeff and I are of the same ilk. We're old. And we were instilled on our parents, you know, the old adage, never a lender or a borrower be. And we don't believe in debt or credit card debt if you can help it at all, because it's so hard to get out from under. So I would rather get you going in a minimal amount of equipment that will do the job for you than to have you overspend. You know, don't give me all your money. You're going to need cash in the bank to get your business started. So that's really important. So we'll run both size machines. We make a bunch of sizes. This is 3 quarts of finished product in under 10 minutes. This is 6 quarts. This one's 12 quarts. That's a full 3-gallon tub. And then we go a machine that looks just like this, but it's 2 tubs, 24 quart. And then the world's largest production machine, the 44 quart, which is 4 tubs. So it's amazing. I get a lot of phone calls and people say, I saw your 44 quart machine and I'm looking to start a business and that's what I want to use. And then I end up selling them a CB350 because I say, no, it's way too large for you. It's what we hope you'll be running in about 5 or 6 years, but for now, it's overkill. All my machines are built of the same construction, the same quality. Over here, when you get up later, you can see the dashers.
Do we have any of those empty quart containers?
That's an old-fashioned term. Other people call them beaters. The original term was a dasher. They're all the same design. Here's one from the 44 quart. And they're spring-loaded, so they do a great job of scraping. That's all our unique designs. So whether you spend money for the smallest machine or the largest, you're getting the exact same quality, same machine, same 45-year lifespan. I'm going to get going. The first thing I'm going to do is set up the machine, and I'll start with the CB350 here. And this is ready to go, but I just want to show you the internal parts. Let me step to the side here. That's the front door, all stainless steel, and that comes off.
This is the part that fell on my toe.
Yeah, right on the point.
Right on the point.
This is the dasher, and to set up this machine, these are spring-loaded, so other machines on the market, they last about 6 months before you have to replace the blades. On some of the larger Capigianis now, you can't even replace them. You have to buy a whole $5,000 dasher. Insane. We put a little bit of lubricant on the 2 O-rings here. The lubricant that I use is called Sterashine, and it's basically, don't tell Sterashine I told you, it's a glorified Vaseline. But the health department likes to see a brand name that is certified pure, and we want to do what the health department wants. So a little bit of lubricant on there, and then compress the blades, slide that in. I'm only doing it with one hand. I don't have to reach into any of the machines. And I turn it until it's in, and then I give it an extra turn, a full turn, to make sure that it doesn't have to drop any further. If I stop the blade, the dasher, with a blade at 12 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock, the measurements from here to here and here to here are dead even. Makes it very easy to either close the door or put the door on. If it's like that and we measured it, it's a little bit longer here than here, and so a little more difficult to put the door on. So I just turn it to there. Everything on Emery Thompson fits perfectly, and that's the only setup maintenance that you have to do. It's the only maintenance you have to do is lubricate that. There's nothing else to do for the first 2 years. And then That just fits on perfectly. Everything fits perfectly. If you're having trouble doing it, then you're doing it wrong. The 4 knobs, I'm going to angle here. The 4 knobs are just to hold it in place. And I put them on like a car tire. When you learned how to put a spare tire on, you learn to get the nuts on and then tighten them, not top and then bottom on your car tire, but opposite ends so that it's even. And you don't have to muscle them. We're just hand tight and again, hand tight like that. The gate here slides up and down, and on this one there's a little gasket in there. So I'm going to put just a little smear of the lubricant just above the gate. And so now when that gate opens, it's going to pick up the lubricant and make that work very easily and not leak.
Steve, I have a question.
Yes.
You said no maintenance for the first 2 years. What happens after that? And you're all over the country. Do you guys have certain dealers or certain repair service centers that you deal with that can assist with the 2-year maintenance?
Okay. I'm going to repeat your questions, and hopefully Jeff and I will both remember to do that because the camera, the sound system can't pick up your question. So the question was, what maintenance is there after 2 years? The maintenance is to buy 2 $6 little rubber O-rings and roll them off of that shaft and roll them back on. That's it. After 8 years, we might sell you a new set of scraper blades. Not after 6 months, but 8 years. So after 8 years, when you're going to put this together, you've taken it all apart to, I've got a little band here to hold it, otherwise everything goes flying and it falls on your foot. After 8 years, you replace these 2 pieces of white plastic, which means you just take it off and put a new one on. That is the only maintenance on this machine. If you had a problem, it's a good question. If you had a problem with your machine, the first thing we want you to do is call here. You've all called here already, and you've seen that you almost never get an answering machine. You get a live person to talk to, and you get someone in authority. You can always ask for me, Steve Thompson. You can ask for Slade Harmon, our vice president. You can ask to speak to any other engineer. You get a live person. And we know our machines better than anyone. And 99% of the time, no offense, but 99% of the time, it's something you're doing wrong. You're cleaning the machine, and you'll see me do that in a few minutes, and you put water in here, and then you turned it on to spin, and then you turned on the refrigeration. Now you're making a giant ice cube because there's no sugar in there, there's no dairy in there, just an ice cube. So the machine makes a lot of banging noise, and we show you how just to fix that, which is just pour some warm water in, drain it out, and start over, and don't do it again. I also give all my customers my home phone number. No other CEO in any industry does that. It's area code 914-643-7391. I'd like you to reserve it for a problem or an emergency, but you can call me after business hours until 9 p.m. at night, and then my IT man has it so that the phone shuts off so that my kids can't call up and ask for money. On weekends it's available, so quick story that is on other tapes. The day after Christmas, Paul and I were out on our little boat on the Intercoastal Waterway down by Palm Beach, and we're just coasting along. We don't fish, we don't do anything, we just float. And a gentleman calls up from Bolivia, and he wants to know how to make chocolate, New York-style chocolate Italian ice. So I rattled off the formula and gave it to him, and other salespeople say, "You're working the day after Christmas, you're on your boat, don't you ever rest?" I said, "Sure, but it's fun, because now I know that in Bolivia, in the capital city of Bolivia, I think that's La Paz, the capital city, and I'll get emails if I'm wrong. The capital city of Bolivia, they have New York-style chocolate Italian ice. So that's why I like to do that call. If you had something that we had to...
The only problem is everybody's running around saying, "What's Italian ice?"
Yes, well, we're going to teach them today. And in Bolivia, yes. Yeah. Well, once they taste it, they'll know.
They'll know.
It was like when we moved down to the south here. When I went to school in 1969, I was trying to sell Italian ice machines, and they said, "What's an Italian?" So we've made progress. We have a nationwide service called Tech 24. So if you really did something to my machine, and I'm going to admonish you for it, we'll have a technician out there right away. So we've got you covered better than anyone. But the main thing is you've already found out by dealing with my company. You call here and you get a live person, and you get someone who can help you. not one of these, oh, I apologize for your having to wait so long. Oh, I apologize that your car was slow getting you to work this morning. None of that, just straight facts. We take care of you.
And let me add a little bit to that. I'm a machine owner. I own one a little bit larger than this, and I've had it for 7 years now. And they're like tanks. Nothing breaks. Just so, I didn't know this, but just so you know it, see the door? That door is made from a block of steel. It's not parts screwed into parts and screwed into parts and resting on parts. It's just a block of steel that they carve out. I guess using a CNC machine or whatever.
Yeah.
All these things, which is, stop me if you want to, but I'm so impressed by this stuff. And I don't get paid for this, by the way. These things here, all the screws on all the machines, this started out life as one square block of steel. So nothing goes wrong with these things. They're really built like a tank. Everything is cast steel.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel, so nothing stains it. Wiping it down is a piece of cake. It's the Rolls Royce, and trust me, I pay the same thing you pay. I don't get any breaks for this. They're just amazing machines, and the maintenance is a $3 O-ring, which is silly. It's just all silly. It lets you concentrate on making money and ice cream rather than worrying about the machine.
Hey, Jeff, I know you don't get paid. If I paid you, would you say something nice about the machine? I'm going to now sanitize the machine. I've been touching everything. It's been sitting around.
Am I going to do this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to go ahead? It's been sitting around for a couple of weeks, and so I want to kill off any bacteria that might be in the machine. And this is, again, a product called Sterasheen, and you can get this in a lot of locations. We sell it in big tubs, but you can find this on Amazon without any trouble at all. And again, it's one of these products, it's chlorine-based, and it's one of these products that the health department looks at and they say, oh, they really know their business. Because I can go out and get a jug of Clorox, and I can put a cap, not a cup, but a cap full of Clorox bleach into a gallon of water and do the same job. But I can't tell you how many health departments I've gotten. There's an expression in the South, when they want to diss you, like, we give a hand gesture or a Bronx cheer or raspberries. In the South, they say, well, God bless your heart, or just bless your heart. Bless their heart, the health departments. They say, chlorine, well, you're going to kill everybody. And I used to be, dumb, and now I'm a little wiser. I used to say, well, what do you think I put in my swimming pool, pal? And that didn't go over well at all. I didn't get my permits.
It was the word pal.
Yeah, I know. It was for emphasis. So now I use a product that they're going to recognize and accept.
You can hit me with some too.
Okay. Did I put it in yet?
No.
Okay. There you go. If you read and follow the directions, you don't have to rinse afterwards. But I don't, so I will. Put that aside. The shelf on the CB350 is adjustable because a lot of people use it for these 2.5 or 3 gallon containers. They also use it for the 6 liter gelato can. And I found if you get a little bit above the lip and pour, you won't spill anything. Now, Jeff just turned on his machine, and he turned on the dasher to spin to mix everything, but he did not turn on any refrigeration because there's only water in here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to infinite overrun control. I'm going to hit homemade, which is my highest speed, and start. And now that's going to spin around. Health department says run it. I mean, they vary anywhere from 1 minute to 3 minutes. You have to do what your health department says. We know that the second that sterile water hits the metal parts, everything is killed. So the timing to the health department is important. The timing to me is not important. When we make ice cream today and ices, you'll see us turn off the refrigeration switch, but keep it spinning to help push the product out. The design of the dasher is to push everything out of the machine. Right now, there's just water in here, And I already warned one family that we're like Shamu the whale. If I forget to turn this off and open that gate, the front row is all going to get soaked. So, because it's liquid. If it was semi-solid like ice cream, it wouldn't go flying everywhere. So I'm going to turn that off, drain it out. Now, do you do a rinse afterwards?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Remember, I do this after I make product,
Right, you do it
the night
Yes.
before, right?
the night before.
Right?
And Jeff and I agree on very little and disagree on a lot. My feeling is that I know that there are gremlins out there, and there's ghosts and everything else, and they come in at night and they want to just touch and feel my machine, so they're leaving their, gremlin slime behind. So I sanitize just before I make the product. I'm also going to just put that there. And I like to do a final rinse afterwards, so I'm going to do that. I've had health departments, again, the lovely health department, bless their heart, has said, well, if you do a rinse afterwards, you're contaminating the machine. And in my, smart way, I said, well, pal, what do you think what do you think Italian ice is made out of? It's water from the tap. How can it get any cleaner than that? Or it can't get any cleaner than that. I lost that argument too. So don't listen to everything I say. But again, if you read and follow the instructions, you don't need to do this. You think I'm going to drip?
No. Yes.
And again, I'll just turn that on for a second. Remember, turn it off, bring it out. Now we're ready to go. We can make ice cream now for the next 8 hours non-stop. If we take an hour for lunch, which we're not going to do, not that long. If I was going to take an hour for lunch, the barrel is very heavily refrigerated. Nothing's going to happen, but in my mind, I re-sanitize. If I open up the door and touch any of the parts inside, I re-sanitize. But otherwise, I can go from vanilla to butterscotch swirl to raspberry swirl to any kind of swirl. What did I
Nothing.
say? You sure? Mm-hmm. Please say something. Oh, go ahead. I can take it.
There's no need to sanitize during the day while you're in the midst of running your product, because in the logical world, you're desanitizing every batch. You're unsanitizing all the time. As soon as you open this and do this to check your product, you've contaminated the machine. So as a child of the 60s, in a logical world, no need.
And also, Jeff's right. And the other thing is, if you do 70% of what we recommend in sanitizing, you're doing about 90% better than everybody else in the world.
If you ever, by the way, I do, if you ever go to a blankety-blank ice cream store, I go into every one I can find, and when I talk to people, I always try to get into the back, and they invariably have a batch freezer, whether it's the king of batch freezers or a junkie brand, it doesn't matter to me. I want to see how they take care of it. And most of the time, it's sort of absentee ownership, and there are kids running the store. And you wouldn't want to eat ice cream out of those machines. There's chocolate running over here, and there's stuff laying there, and there's stuff coming out of here. It's just not a pretty sight.
Now, Jeff has set up his machine ready for a disaster. He's going to go over, and he's going to start pouring in the formula. And it's going to be going all over the floor. He's going, the expletive deleted, Emery Thompson's leaking. And it's just all over the floor, and he can't figure out why, because the brain doesn't work that fast. The answer is he didn't close the gate. So it's just pouring right out of the machine.
My brain works very fast.
If you can engage it.
Right.
Just make sure you close the gate. Otherwise, it's going all over the floor. So we're ready to go, and we're going to make, I got a couple of things to hand out first. Here's our agenda. And pass those around. And then here's the formula that we're working on today. They're both going to be a coconut cream ice. So I'm doing a lot of things.
There is a $5,000 prize on whose comes out better.
there's a lot of things in this word, surprisingly, coconut cream ice. Italian ice is sugar, water, and flavor. I like to use fruit. We're going to use fresh frozen fruit later on. And I use frozen fruit because you can't get wonderful strawberries all year round, but if they pick them at the peak of freshness and then freeze them, I can buy these at the supermarket frozen, and they're as good as close as you can get to all fresh. So sugar, water, and flavor is Italian ice. The Italians say, oh, our sorbets are different, our sorbettos are different. Well, you ask them what the formula is. It's sugar, water, and flavor. That's the same thing. What else do we have? Oh, cream ice then is sugar, water, and flavor, and a little bit of cream added to it to make it an even smoother product. So you're going to hear people talk about cream ices. It's just the addition of a small amount of dairy into a typical Italian ice formula. The reason I picked coconut is a lot of the millennial age group who are opening up businesses starting on the West Coast and moving across the country, as most trends and fads do, are getting very heavy into what they call dairy-free ice cream. That's an oxymoron. There cannot be ice cream that is dairy-free. The federal government says it has to have a certain amount of fat in it in order for it to be called ice cream. But why should that stop anybody? So, and it doesn't. So they're calling different products dairy-free ice cream. Technically, it's an Italian ice. But a dairy-free ice cream is going to be one that's based on either coconut as your base product, coconut water, or you're going to use soy as your base, or you can use cashew nuts as your base. And those are the three different ingredients that constitute a dairy-free ice cream. And why are they doing it? Because they feel that without the dairy fat in there, it's healthier. One of the big scams done of all time is frozen yogurt. They have convinced people that eating a frozen yogurt is nice and healthy for you, and that it's either low fat or no fat, and that's absolutely true. But in order to freeze anything, whether it's a home machine, like a little Cuisinart, or an Emery Thompson, you need a substance to freeze. You need either sugar or you need fat. And so when they make frozen yogurt, they may take all the fat out, but they're loading up the sugar. So the advertisement says 99% fat-free or 100% fat-free. It doesn't say, lady, this stuff's going to put tons of weight on you because it's loaded with sugar. And everybody ignores that. They say, oh, it's sweet and it's delicious. Well, that trend has now gone over to coconut. There's a lot of articles about how healthy coconut is, and it is. It's an excellent base or medium to use. So that's what we're going to do today. We could even use coconut water in place of the tap water. And I'll tell you a little secret that is one of the reasons I had to leave the Bronx, because I started telling people this secret, and a certain company threatened me. You can buy big bags of shredded coconut and put it into a big pot of water, boil it, and then let it cool down, let it sit overnight, and then tomorrow take a strainer and scoop out all the coconut and throw it away, because all the flavor has leached out of it. And now you've got a giant pot of coconut water instead of you having to pay $2.99 for a half-pint bottle of it. You can make your own by buying shredded coconut. It works great. How am I doing?
Great.
So far?
Great.
So we're going to use, as you'll see on the formula, and these formulas are up at the website, emerythompson.com. As of yesterday, there were 150 hours of how-to videos. We'll be adding 5 hours today. We're going to use sugar, water, cream of coconut. If you've had a bar drink, you see Coco Lopez. Coco Lopez is an expensive version of cream of coconut. So the cream of coconut I'm using is a lot cheaper. I'm going to use a little real heavy cream and some shredded coconut and a splash of vanilla. Jeff's formula is the same ingredients, except he's going to use 10% ice cream mix. And I technically think Jeff's will be a better formula, because his not only has heavy cream, it's also going to have whole milk and skim milk in there. So it's hitting the full spectrum of what the cow puts out. I'm only hitting the heavy cream. But mine is a home recipe, and his is what you can make a lot easier. But otherwise, the ingredients are the same, just the percentages have changed. So I think I need 2 quarts of water, which I have here. You're going to need more than 2 quarts.
No, I prepared your stuff.
You did?
This
Wow.
is my stuff.
Oh, thank you. Your water is better than mine, so I'll use that. Okay.
I'm a good suck-up.
12 ounces of sugar, that's here. That's yours. Okay, here we go.
So a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
If you have someone that says, I'm lactose intolerant, would you tell them, I don't think you should have this product, or would you say, okay, well, you can?
No,
Or
I
would you
tell
say
them,
heavy cream?
I tell them buy it and go out with it.
If you're lactose intolerant, this has now added some dairy. Not a lot in the whole scheme of things. It's like dealing with alcohol and ice cream. You can put a whole bottle of alcohol in here, but compared to all the additional ingredients in there, it's not much alcohol.
Yeah, I found in my store with a lot of traffic, people who are lactose intolerant, I tell them, the girls tell them that the ice cream is loaded, the sherbet is like 10%, and that's what they go for, and they usually don't have a problem.
I had to get my cream.
I'll get letters too, but that's all invented. Anyway, so we dissolve the sugar in the water, which once again, you can do it this way, or see me later, I'll tell you how to do it my way.
And Jeff is never wrong. Okay, I'm going to add 16 ounces of it, just right there. Okay. I can add this in the machine, or I can add it right here. You saw that sugar was very easy to dissolve right in cold water. There's nothing to it. You don't have to buy any special sugar at all. So I've got sugar, water, and then I'm going to add my cream of coconut into the machine.
And I'm doing the same thing he's doing, just in different proportions.
Yeah. So here we go.
Okay.
See what happens.
Gates open. Ah, what fun.
Now, I know there's not a lot of freezing action for the first 4 minutes. It's chilling everything down. So I'm going to start this right up now and then add my other ingredients. And the only reason I'm doing it is to save time.
And what I'm going to do is, I noticed that there's still some sugar that's only partially dissolved here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another,
I didn't have that problem. Right, he says. Okay, so I've got my dasher spinning. This is the infinite overrun control where I can pick the product that I want to make, and it's going to adjust the speed of the drive, something I invented 13 years ago and has yet to be copied, and it's made us the #1 machinery. So I'm picking Italian ice, which is what, or let me go to the next page, cream ice. Hit cream ice and start. You can do the same, Jeff. It's going to take you to 200 RPM. Cream ice up there, and start. Oh, stop. But that was close. There you go. All
they
right.
both have ST in the beginning.
Yeah. So good morning. So we're both running at 200 RPM. I'm now turning on my refrigeration.
I'm not.
Okay. And I'm going to add my cream of coconut. And a splash of vanilla for me. Vanilla enhances everything you're doing. I mean, if it's a strawberry, don't bother, but anything that's going to be a simple base like this, even coffee, vanilla, chocolate, vanilla. I don't want to contaminate this, so I'm going to get a container. I'm just going to use a squeeze cup. It's not his vanilla. Jeff makes his own vanilla.
Here's your
What's that?
flakes.
Oh, my flakes. Okay, put that in. I've got some sweetened flakes. Don't buy the unsweetened because they taste horrible, but just some sweetened flakes. I did find a difference between the store brand, which down here is Publix, and the Baker's Pride. The store brand tended to be a little more chewy than the Baker's Pride, so I spent the extra few pennies to buy that. Be right with you. So I'm just going to put that in. So everything's in here, and we're off to the races. Neither one of us brought a watch so to time it, but we'll just keep looking at it. Yes, you had a question.
A little bit of dairy.
Yeah.
There's
The,
a-
What is he doing with the speed of the dash?
well,
Dairy slowing it down?
first off, the question, so that the camera can hear it, is why am I running at a slower speed for cream ice than Italian ice? Because by adding dairy, dairy has fat cells in it and they take on air and expand. Sugar water will only expand 17%. If you are up in Michigan and you have a nice wood boat out on the lake and you leave it there for the winter, the ice is going to freeze and crush the boat. That's the normal expansion of water. That no matter what speed you get, that's all you're going to get out of Italian ice. But by adding a little dairy, now we're going to increase the fat cells, and I don't want to increase them to the maximum, so I have a slightly slower speed for my cream ice. It's you know, it's not going to be a huge difference, but I find it a little bit of a difference. Anyone else? So we're running, and dairy products take roughly 8 minutes to freeze. They're high in fat and low in sugar. That's what ice cream is. That's what gelato is. Italian ice is high in sugar and little or no fat. If it's an Italian ice or a sorbet, it's no fat. So the higher the sugar content, the longer the freeze time. So I'm looking at maybe 16, maybe Jeff at 18 minutes to freeze a batch. Also, I started before him, so with the refrigeration on. Yes?
Since you have some time to talk while that's preparing, could you spend some time discussing how to store your product so that it has shelf life or freezer life?
Okay.
Without forming crusts of ice on it and stuff like that. So that it can stay stored for how to use it 2 days later after it's been in a dip cabinet.
The question is how to store Italian ice. Italian ice, cream ice, are very simple because we don't have to take them down to super cold temperatures to preserve them from ice crystals. So 0 will do it, 10 below will do it better. At 10 below, I could keep Italian ice for 6 or 8 months. But then the question becomes, if I've got a tub of 8-month-old Italian ice, bubblegum licorice, it's a lousy flavor. Nobody likes it. I should have gone through my inventory faster than it's sitting in that cabinet for 8 months. I think you ought to turn it over in a few days, otherwise it's not a good flavor. The colder you take a product, the better it will store. Cold is the world's best stabilizer. There's a stabilizer we recommend that is nothing more than guar and carrageenan, and the company is Main Street Ingredients, but they only sell you a huge drum that would last you, 300 years because you only use a teaspoon. So Malcolm Stogo, which is icecreamuniversity.org, O-R-G, icecreamuniversity.org. Malcolm has the same stabilizer, but in like a 2-pound bag or 3-pound, I'm not sure. When the dairy stabilizes ice cream, and they put the stabilizers into the mix when it's delivered to you, that's really very easy to do. But when we get to sugar water, you've probably all had my customers, Little Jimmy's, Maglione, Via Veneto, Rosati. These people are making product in April to sell to you in July. They're using a lot of chemical stabilizers, and it ends up that the product is sticky and gummy and pulley. That won't happen with either of these products because we're not throwing a lot of chemicals in. So we're going to make the product today. We're going to put it in a chest freezer down to about 5 below, and it could stay there for weeks or months. When I go to serve it, I'm going to use a special cabinet It's just a plain old cabinet, but it's set at 16 degrees Fahrenheit. When I scoop ice cream, I'm going to scoop ice cream at 6 degrees above zero. When I scoop Italian ice, I'm scooping at 16 degrees above zero, 10 degrees warmer. Now, you're going to say, but I went into an ice cream parlor and I saw that they had ice cream and ices in the same cabinet. Go ahead, I dare you, taste the ices. It'll be sticky and gummy and horrible. They have thrown chemicals and artificial sugars that I don't like to use, like high fructose corn syrup. They're going to throw that into their Italian ice so that they can sell it to you as a retail store owner and say, look, you can do your mint chip and your lemon ice in the same cabinet. I run like hell. That's not a lemon ice I want to eat. I know it takes a separate cabinet. But I've got a product that costs me for, that's a 4-ounce squeeze cup. It's actually 3.5 ounces. By the time we crown it over, it's 4 ounces. And that's going to cost me about 6 cents to produce with the cup. And I'm going to sell that for $2. What a deal. I mean, you're making so much money. Why not go buy a separate cabinet just for it? And we don't want the public to see it. It can actually be on the back wall over there. If you want your ice creams out front, fine. Put your ices on the back wall. Because if you go into a old-fashioned pastry shop in Brooklyn who's using my formulas, one thing that does happen after 2 or 3 days is a little puddle of lemon juice forms in the center of the tub, just a small one. And so what the server does is they take their spatula and you see them going like this, and then they put it in the cup and they hand it to you. What the server has done is just remix that little puddle of lemon ice and then put it into the cup and hand it to you. The public doesn't need to see 6 flavors of Italian ice that are getting little puddles of flavor in them. The alternative is to use all the chemicals, and then it holds together very well. I've got some ice that we made 5 months ago in my freezer that I could show you, and it's perfect, just like it was, and it's at scoopable temperature even at 0. But it's sticky, it's gummy. It's not what I want. I want fresh, all natural, sugar, water, flavor. So your temperatures are dependent on the product that you want to make and then what you want to sell to the public. If you're at Yankee Stadium selling product and you need that stuff to hold up while the guy's going around, hey, lemon ice, you want that to hold up and not melt in the heat, you throw in a lot of chemicals. Because at Yankee Stadium or Shea Stadium, they don't want a great lemon ice. They want a cold lemon ice that's profitable. So it depends on what you're going to make as far as temperatures. I need my rainbow ice maker. What I'm doing today is I'm going to show you also my rainbow ice maker by making 3 different flavors. This is a smaller version of it. Let me get this out of the way. Turn off the refrigeration, and I'm going to fill 1 portion here. Now, I actually ran this a little bit longer than I had to, but it's good to show you. Jeff will pull his a little softer, which makes sense because he wants to get on to the next batch. So I'm just going to fill up this 1/3 of this container with my coconut. This is my white, and then we're also going to do red and white, red and blue. So that's what we look like so far. And then that's going to go back into the freezer. That's just a small portion of what I made.
Anybody notice? No, good.
What?
Nothing.
You turned...
No, I didn't do
you
anything.
didn't.
All I put was a bucket underneath, that's
Okay.
all.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Now, I overfroze this, so I've got a little stuck in there, so I'm going to just up the speed to push it out the rest of the way. I told you, those of you who came in late, the wonderful thing about my videos is people look at them and they say, wow, if that idiot Steve Thompson can do this, imagine what I can do. And now you see why I mean that. But I did teach Jeff, and he's now a multimillionaire driving a Corvette. So Jeff's, you'll see, will come out a lot faster because he was paying attention and I wasn't. If I had to have product, you can see how stiff that is. If it was 2 in the afternoon and I ran out of lemon ice, I could pull it this stiff out of the machine and start scooping it right away. Or I'll pull it out like Jeff and let the freezer do the rest of the work. So when we do lemon ice, we put it into a squeeze cup in New York. And if you ask your paper supplier for squeeze cups, you'll never find them. They'll look at you like a deer in the headlights. That's a pleated water cup, like a lady's dress. A pleated water cup made by Solo. And we eat it like this. Oh, that's good. That's great. I think I'll go sit down and eat. Thank you. Bye. And then what we do is we just squeeze it up from the bottom, so it's a lot of fun. You don't have to use a bowl. Well, it's good.
Perfect. All you needed really is a napkin.
A napkin would be good. And my
Or one
trash
of
can.
these, or one of these.
All right. Thanks. So let's see. We are gonna serve this to you. Right? I don't see our spatulas yet. Let me go find some for serving.
Underneath, maybe.
You got them?
So nobody noticed, right? Okay, you noticed. Okay. I'm counting my 5,000 already. When you taste the 2 of them,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm counting my 5,000 already.
How's the formula?
Discuss that later. In my world, it's very important to pull it at the right time, not to overdo it. Oh, what are you doing now?
I want to try it. It's almost identical.
The key word being
Almost.
almost.
Yes. Yours is a little sweeter. Let me get some spoons.
What? What consistency am I looking for? Pretty much this consistency.
Now, see, this is what experimenting is about. That's forks, too. Oh, okay. This is what experimenting is about. Now, when you are making your secret formula, you write down what you did and you number it and you number the container, because otherwise you're going to do 5 of these and you're going to hit on the perfect one and you're going to, what did I do? What did I put in it? And you'll have to start all over again. What I didn't take into account with Jeff's formula, because I did this all mathematically on paper, I've never made this before. I didn't take into account that because his is milk, cream, skim milk, and there's sugar in the ice cream mix, his came out sweeter than mine. I should have cut back on his
Mine
sugar.
came out different because when your back was turned,
Yeah.
I tasted mine halfway through and felt it needed more coconut, so I added another cream of coconut.
Okay. Well, we'll let everybody decide.
Okay, here it is. Come up and get it if you want it.
Come on, everybody up. You got to try it. And I'll put a little bit of mine in there.
In the same plate?
Yes.
Which one? This one's yours, Steve?
The bigger, these
This
are...
one's Jeff's?
No.
they're both going to have both. The smaller portion, the smaller portion is mine, and the bigger portion is Jeff's. And this is how you make a coconut ice. It does. Oh, it doesn't. I hadn't put it in yet. There you go. Here, Jeff, take them from here so that I can...
You did add a little bit of cup of coconut. I thought it was in one of those little squeeze cups. It was a little squeeze cup. No, he did the vanilla and he had 2 little squeeze cups.
I only put a little vanilla in.
You had two crushed up. I don't know what was in it other than trying to win my bigger part.
That'll work. Thank you.
There you go. Huh?
I'm Kitson.
Oh, Kitson, I didn't recognize you. Hi. Good to see you. No. Thank you. I'm sorry?
Coconut cream.
Here. The smaller portion is my formula. The larger portion is Jeff's formula.
What?
Yeah. I'll get it for you. Okay. Which one wins? The smaller portion or the bigger portion? The bigger. All right, how many people say the smaller? Okay. You all get A's. And the bigger?
It's almost like there's two products though, because yours is more like an ice and his is more like an ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a fuller taste, the ice cream one has a fuller taste, but it has more coconut, bigger coconut, but then the one from yours, he has
Put a little in here.
finer coconut, but a little lighter taste.
Okay. So neither one. The real answer is yes. The real answer is both are good. You decide what you want to make. And see, so here we are with a product that was put together just mathematically at my desk, never having made it before. And this is the results we got. So you would write down what you did, and then you would critique it and say, this is what we could do to make it better. Jeff is most likely right to add more coconut, and I should have cut back on his formula as far as the sugar, because I didn't take into account that there was sugar in the dairy product. You had a question?
Yeah, the places out there,
Oh, right.
They're from Chicago, and the Italian ice backed by us is, I mean, ice.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't stand the quality. It's terrible.
What control?
Like this is like a gourmet at this point.
And I'd love to tell you it's all because of my machine, so I will. It's all because of my machine. But the true answer is it's the sugar content. I'll give you a quick example. Up in New York City, Midtown Manhattan, for my next size up from this, the formula is 7 pounds of sugar, 14 quarts of water, 2 quarts of lemon juice. All we're going to concentrate on is the sugar. 7 pounds of sugar. I go down to Philadelphia where they call it, and we call it Italian ice. In Philadelphia, it's called Italian water ice. And it's 8 pounds of sugar. It's smoother than a New York ice. You go out to Bay 8th Street in Brooklyn, which is an all-Italian neighborhood, nobody speaks English, and it's called Granita or Granite. It's the true Italian ice that you'd find in Sicily, and it's crunchy. It's got such a heavy, crunchy texture, and granular, thank you, and it doesn't have enough flavor. And then you get up to Rhode Island, and they call the stuff slush. Not like a 7-Eleven slush, but this, to them, is called slush. It's only 5 pounds of sugar. It's horrible. I mean, I sell a lot of machines to them. I'm happy. You know, bless their heart. I make money. But it's a lousy product because it's so low in sugar. Sugar enhances the flavor. If someone says, you know, my formula is almost right, but it just, no matter how much more coconut I add, I can't get a bang, strong coconut flavor. I say add a half-pound sugar. Sugar will enhance the flavor. So that's what's controlling the smoothness between what you had in Chicago and what I just made right here. It's all in the sugar content. I wish it was only my machine. What I give you is something that's so rock solid, it isn't going to twist into a pretzel when you make it. Oh, everything goes into my machine. Speaking of pretzel, the Rainbow Ice Maker. Is there one out
Right
here?
here.
Thanks. This is how strong my machines are. That's the rainbow ice maker that I developed. It's just 3 compartments. You used to do it with cardboard, but if you've seen the ads on TV, cardboard attracts bugs. It's dirty. You can only use it once. So I'm dividing the tub into 3. It comes unconditional guarantee. You can't hurt this thing unless you're one of my customers somewhere out west of the Mississippi River and he says, it got damaged in shipping, which we don't believe. It didn't even get run over by a tractor trailer, but it came back looking like that. Now, what did he do? It took a few minutes to figure out what he did, but they're all bent in the same direction. They're all going that way. He put it in the machine and thought that it was going to divide the machine up into 3, and it went bang, 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 bang. And the machine survived quite nicely, thank you, but my rainbow maker didn't. But for what that cost me and sending him a new one, I'm getting so much mileage out of showing this to people. By the way, on a side political... Oh, Crystal, here. Everybody, this is Crystal, who you speak to when you call on the phone. She's the nice person. I'm the not so nice. And so when you hear a friendly, pleasant voice, there you go, if you'll take those.
What's the flavor?
Coconut.
Coconut, thank you.
Jeff, I have to tell you, is hopelessly, now I have to say was, hopelessly liberal. I mean, the two of us couldn't be any different. We disagree on everything politically. He walks in this morning and says, Steve, I have a gift for you. I've been converted. And he actually gave me this expression. It is a Donald Trump, but he actually gave it to me, so it proves only one thing. It doesn't prove whether the Democrats are right or the Republicans are right or where your political stance is. It means that ice cream and ices make you sweeter.
Yeah, it's the same thing that I put on there. It's coconut.
Sammy, come here, girl.